You've heard it. Hope is not a strategy, and it's certainly not a strategy in sales. See, we've been sold the lie that if we just show up online long enough, eventually the universe will somehow reward us if we just keep posting consistently. I can tell you this. That's not how business works. When you keep hoping for some breakthrough instead of building one, you are guaranteed that your business is going to stay stuck in survival mode. See, more leads without a process will keep you spinning your wheels. See, I learned this early on when I was running my cleaning business. We had plenty of people calling us, but no clear process to qualify and then present and then close. So most of those opportunities went nowhere. See, once we built a really clear path for every single prospect, we didn't need more leads. What we needed to convert the ones that we already had. See, your calendar is not your scoreboard. The amount of game, I hear it, it's a numbers game. I thought being booked solid meant that I was winning until I saw that I was spending most of my time in the wrong meetings, in the wrong room with the wrong people. See, a system forced me to swap being busy for being really effective and focusing only on those opportunities, on those calls, on those deals that would move me forward and move the business forward. See, the 3% ready to buy today, they're not your only opportunity. They're just the smallest slice. And what I did was I ignored the other 97% for years, and it cost me. Once I started nurturing people who weren't ready yet, my pipeline never ran dry. See, that's when I stopped having good months and starting having good years. I didn't waste my time meeting people too early. We had a process that if the indication was that they're not a buyer right now, they're a looker, they're shopping, they're not buying, we didn't waste our time pitching. We moved them into a nurture campaign, we built relationship, we qualified them over time, and then they became those 3% that we really wanted to close. See, you can't scale when you're drowning in chaos and all types of leads. Early on, I closed a huge account through hustle alone. Within a year, I lost it. I did all this work. I out hustled, I hunted, and I pushed, and I lost it. Not because the relationship soured, but because I had no process to maintain it. I couldn't deliver it consistently. Without structure, even your biggest wins will slip away. This is why I tell you, in selling, if I have to convince you to do business with me, I have to convince you to stay. See, a selling system starts with mapping the exact journey from stranger to client. I remember just sketching it out. Take a legal pad. Every touch point my best clients had before they signed. And you know what? That became my blueprint for me moving cold leads into this step-by-step process towards a yes. Now, in the Martinelli method, we've mapped out this exact process, and I train all of our clients to sell through this systematic approach. Consistent messaging is the glue that holds the journey together. And it's all built on the two most important words in sales: commitment, objective. What's the commitment objective for where you are in the relationship right now? And if you're falling into the trap of ABC, always be closing, you may be trying to close somebody who you have no business trying to close right now. See, before I had a process, my pitch changed with my mood or with, whatever was happening in the marketplace or the last podcast or book I read. Once I locked into my core message, I became predictable. And guess what? Predictability builds trust. Follow-up is where most sales are won or lost. And I used to follow up like only when I felt like it. Like rainy day is the time to call back all those cold leads, if it happened at all. See, I would follow up, like if I had times, if there was nothing else in my schedule. But once I built follow-up into a system, I was amazed at how many no's turned into yeses. Just by staying in touch with them at the right time in working the right commitment objective. See, you can't fix what you can't see. And I can tell you this, measurement is non-negotiable. For years, I thought I was doing great until I saw the numbers, until I started to really measure them. And then I realized I was leaking opportunities that I couldn't see because I wasn't tracking them. Data, hygiene of my leads took all the guesswork out of all of my decisions. Now, here's what I want you to do. Pause this video for a second, and I want you to download the free 17 closing moves guide. Free 17 closing moves guide that I created for you. Now, my team put the link right there in the description. This isn't just like a list of tips. It's a piece right out of our sales system. One part of a full system that helped thousands of sales professionals close with certainty, not pressure. Not trying to convince people. And inside, you'll find 17 practical moves that give you a consistent approach to closing. Moves that you can apply on your next call in any industry. And guess what? They work in any economy. Here's the thing. Even if you only implement one of them, you'll feel the difference in your very next call because you're using a system. And that builds certainty in you. And sales is the transference of certainty. Think of this guide as kind of a working piece of a much larger machine at play. And when you put it to use, you'll start to see how structure replaces pressure and takes you naturally to the close. It's not some, strategy of always be closing. Now, the link is right there in the description. Download it now and then come right back because we're about to build on this and take the system even deeper. You know when things changed for me is when I became a trusted educator. When I could start educating my cleaning companies about green cleaning and about healthy cleaning, about HEPA filter vacuum cleaners, about microfiber surgical cleaning cloths, about lay flat mop systems. When I started to educate them about not just cleaning, but about killing germs, about removing bacteria, about making it a safer, healthier place for them to live. And when I could educate them, I did that long before I ever became their paid supplier. That was a big change. See, when I stopped chasing only those 3% of what were the hot leads, and I started engaging in the cool 97%, and I nurtured them, and I led with value, and I would give insights, and I became an advisor and a collaborator, and I gave them tools and ideas before ever asking for the sale, and I became a solution. That shift made me the obvious choice when they were ready. See, relationships are built over time, and they're built on repeated positive contact. Repeated positive contact. Every single time they interacted with me, when I left, I became a person of increase. I increased their feeling of positivity. I increased their feeling of motivation. I increased their feeling of them being inspired. I increased their feeling of engagement. See, one of my biggest clients came from an 18-month nurture sequence. If I'd written them off after their first or second or third no, I would have missed out on a 7-figure cleaning contract. See, segmentation of my leads was a secret weapon, and it is still today. See, I used to throw the same pitch at everyone, and then I would wonder why it didn't land. And once I started categorizing my prospects by where they were in their decision and what was driving those decisions, what were their problems, what were their needs, guess what? I could then meet them right there in the conversation at the right time that was most relevant to them. See, curiosity is often the first step towards commitment. I've had people come into my world kind of uninterested until I would ask one question or share one story that made them realize that they may be missing out on something much more important. See, the right system builds in all of those curiosity moments on purpose with intention. Automation should serve the process, but it should not replace your presence. It should not replace your creativity. It should not replace your thinking. When I first automated follow-up, I thought I could kind of set it and forget it like a slow cooker. boy, that backfired until I paired automation with a real personal touch point. And what happened was I deepened those relationships. I deepened them. I didn't try to replace them with a hotter lead. I stayed around until they became hot. See, if you think about systems are only as strong as the people who run them. And when I began to document my entire process so that my team could replicate it, that's when my business finally scaled. Until then, everything was a bottleneck because every decision had to come to me. Everything was dependent upon me. I didn't have a company. I had a job. But if we think about integration between your tools, your CRM, your marketing, your sales process, all of that is critical. I've lost opportunities because a lead slipped right between my email system, right through my CRM. And once we started to connect everything, follow-up became automatic and seamless, but was done with intention and personal touch. So just a regular review of what's in your pipeline, a regular review of scoring each lead keeps your system alive. Here's what we know. Markets change. People change. The decision maker change. People on the boards change. So if you don't revisit your system, if you don't revisit the entire process, it goes stale. And stale systems stop producing. I review ours every single quarter. I go to every single link we have. I want to click on it. I want to make sure it works, just to see what's working. And then if we're not getting the results, then we're going to adjust. A selling system is an asset. It's not a tactic. It's an asset. What do we know about assets? We know that assets appreciate. And once I saw my process as an appreciable asset for the business, something with value beyond my involvement, I treated it like real estate. I invested in it. I improved it. And guess what? I made sure that it produced year after year. And I did that throughout the entire company. Customer service had a sales responsibility because we believe that when somebody's complaining that there's a request. And usually that request is filled with an additional service contract. So somebody would call in and complain that, our cleaning company didn't clean the bathrooms or that the lobby looked messy or that the back kitchen looked messy. Well, that complaint was a request. When we showed them, hey, look, we're only in here twice a week. We haven't cleaned the kitchen since Monday. It's Thursday morning. So of course it doesn't look great. Maybe what we should do is we should offer you just a kitchen, bath, and trash visit sometime in the middle of the week. And see, when I started to do that, every part of the business started to produce. See, certainty is a byproduct of a process that you can trust. Remember, sales is the transference of the emotion of certainty. And I don't know about you, but how can I trust you or a process or your system if I don't have certainty? Certainty is the byproduct of a process that you can trust. Walk hundreds of prospects through those same steps. See if it works. And guess what? You stop selling with desperation or out of scarcity, and you start selling with calm confidence. I don't know about you, but for me, in our business, confidence is contagious. A system protects your time. It protects your energy. It protects your emotional bandwidth. It protects your brand. See, before I had one, every day felt like I was starting from scratch. But with a system, I can end the day knowing that everything in the pipeline is not only where it's at, it's moving forward, even if I'm not at my desk. If you think about what leadership is, leadership and authority in sales is about guiding people through into a decision. It's not about pushing them into one. It's not about convincing them. And if you have a proven process, you're not scrambling to react. You're being the one who's the originator. You're leading that conversation forward. And this will earn you both respect and business. See, most salespeople are stuck chasing and hoping. It's a numbers game. The ones who win, they build systems and they keep winning, even when they're not playing on the field. You don't need to reinvent yourself every single quarter, but what you should do is build it once and refine it until it works in your sleep, until it works until it produces predictable results. And that's how you stop surviving and you stop playing the numbers game and you start scaling. Now look, if you haven't yet clicked on the link, go now, right below here, right below the description, and download the 17 Closing Moves Guide right now. It's a framework for closing that works across deals. It works across industries. It works in any market. And even if you only use one of these, it's going to move you so that you notice and that you feel a smoother connection. It'll feel cleaner and even more consistent. That's what happens when you stop improvising and you start using a system. You're no longer shoot, fire, and aiming. And then keep the momentum going. And watch the next video. It's titled How to Read a Script Without Sounding Scripted. Because even the best closing lines won't land if your delivery feels robotic. Now that video will help you sound natural, authentic, and confident every single time you speak. So download that guide now and then watch this next video. I'll see you there.